but I think it'd be interesting for you though, is your character is a hunter, right? So I think Cabela's, that's why I mentioned that, because the Cabela's would be so
Oh yeah.
freaking cool because the hunter aspect. I didn't think about that before we talked about, this book. Uh, but yeah, that's actually a good point, right? For you, your audience is fantasy, readers, but also
Mhm.
probably could get some hunters in
Hunters.
there. So I think
Let's go to the
Cabela's,
Army Navy store or whatever it is and stuff like, here, we'll put this right here and I'll let, you know, I actually, I was just thinking as you were saying, I'm like, shrink wrap the book and have someone dress up like a mermaid and jump into the fish pond and in Cabela's and all that and just swim with the book and say, just go back and forth and occasionally go up to the surface for oxygen and then we come back and down to the.
I don't know, man. Those people are those actresses and actors are expensive. I had a friend do they
Well, I
did they
imagine
were
they are, and they have a lung capacity like Aquaman or something
yeah.
like that.
And I found out how much they made in a day. I was like, I am in the wrong career. So
Exactly. Yeah,
that's
I just
awesome.
need to float.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, that's super cool. But I do have to ask though, like, um, I know you talked about theme, and different things, but like, how did you why did you come up with the fact that she's scorched? Like, how did that process come about?
Um, I wanted that concept of people only seeing what's it for face value. Like they take people for face value. They take only people for what they see right there. Like you could look at somebody walking down the street and their clothes could all be disheveled and everything, pockets hanging out and so on. But for all you know, that
Hmm.
person is a genius. And they're
Yeah, yeah,
not, poor or anything. Because we had a guy, we called him Bicycle Bob in our town, and turns out he was wealthy as the Dickens, but he decided to, like, just ride around town on a bicycle. And then he became Dirt Bike Bob because he switched from a bicycle to a dirt bike. So he
oh, that's
motorized himself and everything. So it's to show that what you see right in front of you isn't exactly what is truly there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
You
think
know.
that's great. No, I think that's great. I think there's so many times where like there was like back in the day, right, where like they would like on the CW or
Hmm.
WGF, any of those, right? Like they had the people, right, where they would like I forget what the show was, but like they would it's almost like practical jokers, right? But it was just to see what people would do. And I'm totally blanking what the show was, but like they
Oh
did
yeah,
that
they
with
would do stuff like that. They'd say like
yeah,
they'd have a kidnapping or something like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and
Well, they had a homeless guy. They had somebody pretend to be a homeless guy go up and
mhm.
ask, right, people for help, and then he would go take off his
And people would
costume
just
really
go,
quick. Yeah, he would switch, and they would be like, "Oh yeah, no problem." And then they came up to them, those people, right? They're like, "Hey, why did you? This is the same guy." They're like, "Oh, we didn't recognize him." And they're like, "Oh,
mhm,
because you only saw him for face value, right? Like you saw,
exactly.
yeah." So I think that is like a great,
Oh
great
yeah,
thing because we do that, right? So
oh
I
a
think that's
ton.
pretty cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's super cool. So before we get going, I love the titles: "The Scarred Night," "Ignited Moon," "Scorch Hunter." Um, Dragon One's cool too. So for me though, I'm wondering, and I know we've talked about this before, but again, if people haven't seen our other interviews or lives, how do you come up with your titles? You do it at the
Well,
beginning and go with an idea, or do it at the end after you're like done with everything?
I use a method that I learned on YouTube to where I pick the two most important things in the book, and then I go from there. Now, the Scorched Hunter was originally called Prim Noir because there's a political title for female governesses called Prim Noir because there's Prime and Prim Noir in the book. And so I had that for the longest time, and then I decided, well, you know what, we're going to keep with the fire theme within the Iron Cross universe. So we have the Ignited Moon, the Scorched Hunter, and then the next one I haven't come up with a title yet, and well, I have a title, but I'm going to come up with a more fire themed one. But the scorched part of it was, hey, she's, as we've said repeatedly, a hunter, and half her face is burnt away, so she's the scorched hunter, and that's how that came about.
I like it. I just like it because it's like it's right in the title. First of all, they're great titles, and I like that method. I know you mentioned it before. I actually use that with really with my urban fantasies because somebody actually suggested that to me as well. Because before I was kind of having trouble. Some of my fantasies I'll do like lines from the book. But yeah, I really like that one though because I don't know. I was like my urban fantasy titles more, but it's like it's exactly what you have. So my first one's like The Hunted. and like the people are being hunted, right? Like it's pretty self-explanatory. So but I just like yours because I think they're great titles, first of all. They sound great and they really go right to the point. So I think people should definitely check that out.